Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi. Um, Sister Aisha, thanks for joining. Really appreciate your coming to give me the company in this journey. So, as I mentioned, this journey is, of course, sometime alone with alone. So one way, um, yeah, but of course, because we are seeking divine love and divine company, our main objective is to keep seeking. And one of the criteria I mentioned is um, this, um, which is the never tired of seeking divine love, never tired of seeking divine knowledge. So that is the main objective for us. So yeah, that's one of the reason I wanted to continue. So today's session, as I mentioned, it will be on mind, and I'll have a brief review, but I can go with this one faster um, because there is no new person with us today. So we can go into mind directly. So, and then I wanted to touch a little bit of Hakim al-Tirmidhi. He is the one, his model we will be highlighting today. And he is the one who gave, or actually influenced Lale Bakhtiar to um, to use some of the terminology he used, and of course I think it is a very important dimension Hakim al-Tirmidhi contributed into the model of human soul, the one we are following, even Islamic Psychology Association following the main model. So, and we will be touching on this container of knowledge and also sphere within this sphere. This is about the heart, the consciousness. So let's dive in. This one, I thought I will be going mainly to highlight that we have three parts soul. Our focus today will be on the cognitive system, which is the wisdom. Because as we mentioned before, if we have too much of self-esteem, then we will have lust, greed, those sort of negativity in us. If we have a um, less, too little, then we become lazy and anxious, anxiety, apathy will attack us. But this is the other one, which is the, if we don't have enough courage, we become cowardice. And then if we have too much courage, we become arrogant and anger will come to us. So here, if we don't have cognitive knowledge seeking mindset, we will be ignorant, and that is a veil. So darkness will come and cloud our heart. But if we have too much of wisdom, then we may become hypocrite, we may become munafiq. And if we don't have at all no wisdom, then we become unbeliever. So that's what this main thing is. But main thing is reason and passion. Both are the struggle to do justice or to come to the center. So we have four aspects of our soul, animal soul, which is the nafsul amara, nafsul mulhama. This is where we will be discussing today. Nafsul mulhama is the qalb and our consciousness. So that's where our discussion will be. So what I wanted to review this part just because to understand that the mind is part of alam al-barzakh. Alam al-khayal is part of alam al-barzakh because we are living in two dimension or two hands. I'll explain two hands. Allah said, I created Adam, my two hand. So I will discuss briefly on that. And to show these two hands, we human being live simultaneously into this two world. The one world is called Alam-e Malakut, another world is called Alam-e Mulk. So Alam-e Mulk is this world, which is of course this dimension where our body is, our animal self, animal soul part is. But this nafs al-mutmainna, nafs al-lawama, these are all part of barzakh, it's invisible, alam al-khayal. So we go there when we dream, we go to sleep, we move from our soul move from this world to that world. So that's why I wanted to bring this. One of the things I wanted to draw the attention today is this particular Quranic word, yuhibbuhum or yuhibbunahu. Ibn Arabi, in his prayer book, he says, wazhir alayya ya zahiru ya batinu athara asrar al-anwar yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbunahu. Show upon me, O you, who are the manifest and hidden traces of the luminous mysteries of He loves them and they love Him. Because Allah is saying Allah loves first. Allah loves first the human being, then human being love Allah. So this divine love, what there is a mystery. There is a mystery, the light of love. So he's saying that, oh Allah, show it to me. So that is one of the dimension of mind, how you can imagine Allah, how can you think about Allah, so that you can offer your devotion of love to Him. So that's what our focus today. And I just wanted to touch on this one that your beloved wants to love you. For that reason, you should love him. This is, I am telling as a co-traveler. So you are doing the journey together. So we need it. If we love him and he loves us, then he's saying that he will unveil us, unveil the veil he put in between us. So, and we know that there's a veil which we discussed in our last session. This Quranic verse, "Fakashafna anka gataka." When we can do the death of our animal soul or suppression of our animal soul, fanafillah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lift this veil. And then our basira, our inner side become as sharp as iron. So that is this verse, and that's why we need to seek the divine love. We can need to seek divine proximity so that we can achieve this um, lifting of the veil. Here, I am again questioning, as a spiritual warrior, don't you want to say this prayer the way Ibn Arabi said it? Alhamdulillah allazi ajlasani fi maqami mahabbatillah. So this maqami mahabbatillah, station of divine love, if we can sit in that station and feel the divine love in our heart, that is such a joyful moment we should all aspire to. And Ibn Arabi was there and he was praising Allah for giving him that sitting with him. And then he said, Walhamdulillahi alladhi adhaqani min mawa'id madadillah. Because every moment we need divine assistance, madadillah, divine assistance. So Allah gave him the taste of his madad. And we, in another part, Ibn Arabi is saying, you know, all these negative traits we say that we want to work, none can be removed unless Allah helps us. Unless divine assistance comes to us, without madad, none can be leave you, none can leave you, right? So 75 years, those Palestinian people are fighting, but still those clutched them because that's how Allah wanted or how it is destined for them. So this is like again same thing. Ibn Arabi is saying all awliya they are successful to remove all these things from their heart because Allah helped them. Without Allah's help, Nasrun min Allah wa Fatuhun Kareeb. Without Nasrullah, nothing can happen. And then I just wanted to focus on this mind now. Here, our mind was named sadr because it is the first part of cognition or thinking, connects our motivational and cognitive system. As our animal soul is the governor of our motivational system that whispers its demands, wants, um, and the needs in our mind. So whatever motivational system which we said esteem, self-esteem, if you don't have self-esteem, then you become lazy. So that's why your animal soul is needed. It gives you inspiration, it gives you motivation. But if it is too much, that's when we have a problem. So, and but mind is where it can do whispering. According to Hakim al-Tirmidhi, mind is the first station of heart, which is the consciousness. To understand mind, we need to understand two hands of Allah. That's why I just wanted to mention this. Qala ya Iblis, ma mana'aka an tasjudu lima khalaqtu biyadayya. O Iblis, what has kept you from prostrating thyself before that being which I have created with my two hands? So, but from my perspective, these two hands, there is an interpretation. Of course, we can read from various other authors, especially Hazrat Ibn al-Arabi rahmatullah alayhi. He, in Futuhat and also in Fusus al-Hikam, wrote details about those two hands. Um, One of the interpretation was given by she compiled this. So Murata in her Tao Islam, that book, she mentioned that here the two hands are evidently linked to two meanings of the name Al-Aziz. In Futuhat, Ibn Arabi explains that hand means both power and blessing. Power and blessing. Power corresponds to the impediment, mana, that is to the name Al-Aziz, the mighty, the inaccessible and uncontainable, inasmuch it is a name of majesty. And the balance and a blessing corresponds, however, to predominating galaba, to the name Al-Aziz as the victorious. So we need to be victorious because we are doing this struggle with our animal soul. So we need this galaba, the victorious power of Al-Aziz. However, the inestimable, the most esteemed inasmuch it is the name of beauty. So blessing is part of his name beauty, Al-Jamal. Both hands corresponds to the aspect of divine incomparability and similarity respectively. So in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying two hands, one is the mulk, another is malakut. Here is saying that hallowed be he in whose hand is al mulk, biyadihil mulk. He has the power to will anything in this mulk. And then, of course, in Surah Yasin is saying, فَسُبْحَانَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. So we all go back to Barzakh in Malakut. So that Malakut is in his other hand. So our mind and our heart is part of Malakut, as I showed in the other diagram. So this is what, and also this other book, Ibn Arabi's book, of course, it's a compiled from Futuhat and by Muhammad Gurab, is called Al Khayal, Alam al Barzakh wal Mithal. That book this basically the title of the book is this. I have written here that our mind, al khayal, which is our mind, is part of alam al barzakh wal alam al misal. So now go more deeper. Before going that, I just wanted to introduce Hakim al Tirmizi, because I don't know how much you know about Hakim al Tirmizi, because he wrote, as you see, he's just 300 third century after Hijrah, and 10th century. So, so he's during Sahal Tustari, and even Tirmidhi, Bukhari, all those people when they did the hadith. But this Tirmidhi is not the hadith um, collector Tirmidhi. He is a muhaddis. Hakim al-Tirmidhi is also muhaddis, but he is not known for collecting hadith. Though he learned hadith from his father, and who was a khatib, but main reason he became famous in Ibn Arabi following, because he wrote a book called Khatam al-Awliya, the Seal of the Saints. And in that book, he wrote 157 questions, saying uh, what is the qualities of Seal of Saints, and what is the difference between Wilaya, which means sainthood, and Nubuwa, which is of course for prophet. So because prophet's door, Nubuwa door is closed, but the Wilaya door is still open. So he explained how that Wilaya works. And now, where he got all this knowledge from is the story I wanted to tell. There is a PhD thesis done in University of London. An Egyptian brother, Ibrahim Gayushi, he actually researched on Al-Khidir. And so I don't know whether you have read this book by Fariduddin Attar, Tazkiratul Awliya. There, in Arabic version of that, Attar detailed about Hakim al-Tirmidhi. Hakim al-Tirmidhi, what happened was when he was around 2025, that period, he and two of other his friend, they decided to go out to seek knowledge. In those days, and not like today, we are so blessed, but still nobody is coming to this kind of sessions. But in those days, people had to walk miles after miles, months after months, to go and seek knowledge, to go to the people who are knowledgeable. Those people, knowledgeable people, they used to have a kind of sanctuary, and there they used to teach. So all these seekers had to go there and of course seek knowledge. So and this Hakim al-Tirmizi, he made this plan, but his mother, at that time his father was not alive, his mother, old mother, he said that, hey, where are you planning to go? Because I have no one but you. So who will look after me? So please don't go, because I can't look after myself without you. So he decided to stay reluctantly, because he can't leave his mother like what his mother already expressed it, that she can't live without him. So as a result, yeah, he let the other friends go. And I think after 6 months or 1 year, his mother died, and he was crying at the side of his mother's tomb. He said that, Mom, I did stay with you. But now what will happen to me? I have this thirst for knowledge. My dad make me hungry for knowledge. And I made this habit, practicing, studying, learning. My thirst is now so high, but I don't have a company to go and I don't know where to go. So, and he keep on crying and crying, and suddenly a sheikh appeared to him. A sheikh appeared to him, and sheikh said, "Hey, what's going on? Why you are crying?" He said that this is the story. I planned it, but my mother didn't let me go. So I served my mother. But now my mother is gone. Now what do I do? So, so I am asking my mother now that she gone back to Allah to do something for me. So that then what Sheikh said, yes, she sent me to you. So said that I will teach you whatever knowledge you wanted to go to other people. So I, a sheikh, came from there to here to teach you. So every Sunday they used to study together. And there are many things he mentioned in that Fariduddin Attar Tashkaratul Awliya, that even some of his friends in there, he used to do all this work. And this later, of course, this sheikh um, informed him that he was the Khidir, and then Khidir lives, of course, in the ocean. As a result, he used to put all his writings in a box, and he used to dip into the river, and he used to pick it up after 3 days, that box, and his homework is done. That's how he used to do all these things. And one day, to disclose this miracle, he took one of his friend. He said that I give all these things. I am locking up in this box. Your job is just take the box, go to the river and put it inside the water. Don't worry what happens. Just do it. And of course he once went there and he didn't do it and he couldn't see anything. And when he came back, of course, he says, "You didn't do it." But he sent him back. And then he did it. And then, of course, he met Khidir as well, his friend. So that's how this sheikh, this Hakim al-Tirmidhi, learned the knowledge of wilaya, knowledge of soul, everything from Khidir, who is a divine teacher, as you know, who taught so many saints. So this is why this Hakim Tirmidhi model is so much powerful, because it's a direct knowledge. Just Moses had to go and learn from Khidir, Elam Ladunni. Same way Hakim Tirmidhi was taught by Khidir directly, just like the way Hakim, Ibn Arabi encountered Khidir 3 times. But in case of Hakim Tirmizi, almost, I think, 5 to how many years? He said many years. So um, every Sunday he used to come and teach him, and then later he used to send his papers to, and then he used to correct it. That's how the situation was. Anyway, now we will talk about this particular section is taken from his book. The book I mentioned is, the other, the book I mentioned is Treatise on the Heart, Bayan al-Farq, Bayan al-Sadr wal-Qalb, wa Fuad wal-Lab. This is the book translated from Arabic to English by Nicholas here. And that book, if you search it in the internet, you'll find the PDF. I have the hard copy, so I just quoting from there. He's saying that Mawadi are ʿulum, containers or places of knowledge. So when we seek knowledge, anything earned knowledge, knowledge of Sharia, knowledge of Quran, knowledge of Hadith, anything your senses learn, your five senses, we learn through our eye, we learn through our ear, we learn through our tongue. So whatever we do with our body, visible five senses, that is stored in the mind. The mind is the container for earned knowledge. But if you are working hard, and if you are able to clean your qalb, and if you are able to go into barzakh, and then Allah will give you some direct knowledge, ilmul nafi. That is the knowledge will be stored in your heart, in your consciousness. That is what Hakim al-Tirmidhi got directly through Khidir from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way Moses got it directly from Khidir, which is ilm ladunni, direct knowledge. And then conscience is the inner heart, which is deeper than the consciousness, is the abode of light of gnosis, al-marifa. So the light of al-marifa goes and stays there, which is the fuad. And it is associated with the vision, ruya. We will be able to see the reality every day. Whereas the heart has more knowledge of the reality, mere knowledge of reality, the inner heart actually sees reality. So this is what Hakim al-Tirmidhi is saying in that book. And then the reason, intellect, love, the aql, lab of plural is albab. And if you search Quran with this word albab, you will find so many verses. And it's talking about this innermost sphere of the heart is the abode of the light of unification, Nur al Tawheed. And that is the one, of course, you will get anywhere within the world. This oneness of being, this Wahdatul Wujud, the way Ibn Arabi got, and that is where he's saying that it is the basis of the three outer spheres and is the recipient of God's grace and bounty. So once you are able to get something here, then this grace and bounty will come. Grace and bounty, that is the one which will be that lifting of all the veils. But of course, lifting of some veils will give us so much anyway. So yeah, we are working on the lifting of the veils, and that's why we are working on this. And this is the diagram done by the AI. I just gave all the data and it drawn it, but I labeled these things myself. So basically mind, sadr, and then the qalb, and the conscient, fuad, and then the lab, which is closer to the ruh, the spirit. That is the nafs al mutmainna. So as you saw in my other uh, Islamic psychology model, I had those nafs al mutmainna, everything in different places. But this diagram, of course, it says a sphere within the sphere, concentric sphere. That's how Hakim Tirmidhi mentioned. Though just like our body, different things work together. Same way, though you will find that our animal soul, the lataif nafsiya, is in the stomach. And the liver, which is the nafs nabatiya, the plant soul, that is in the liver. But that has a connection in the mind. Mind is which is the surface of the heart. Mind, surface of the heart, because this is the main heart, as you see. So in this outer part is the mind. So animal soul, which is not in the heart, animal soul, which is in our stomach, it can send messages to mind. This is what we need to understand. So as you see, entry point for passions, desires, and rancor, repository of Islamic law and external knowledge. All these things can be entered into the heart through the mind. So all whispering can only be done at the sadr. Qalb, of course, we told you that this is the seat of faith, the light of Islam, light of Iman. So this is the light of Iman is in the heart. Consciousness receives divine inspiration, ilham. Falhamaha, fujuraha, wa taqwaha. So taqwa, the God consciousness, and this ilham comes to heart directly, not to the mind. Fuad, inner heart conscience, is the seat of gnosis, marifa, capable of seeing reality through the inner eye. Lab is the one which is the intellect, akal. This intellect is not the one, the reason we think just related to brain, but it is actually in the heart as well. So some part of it is in the brain, yes. Other part is in the heart, in this is in the center. So this intellect, akal, reason, our modern science only recognize the one in the brain, but they can't recognize the one in the heart. So that's where the gap is. But Islamic psychology, they acknowledge that. So two part of the intellect and reason and akal. One is, of course, part of the roof, part of the spirit, part of the inner heart, this black component. And yeah, that is actually Hakim Tirmidhi used a model of I. So let's see. Okay, it will be coming after this table. So this table I compared this Bakhtiar versus Tirmidhi, how both of them explained this four components of our self, our nafs. So nafs al-ammara, which is our animal soul, animal self, source of effect and behavior. Behavior is related to, in those uh, enneagram diagram, one is courage, another is self-esteem. So self-esteem is this related to effectiveness, emotional, laziness versus lust, those sort of things, attraction to pleasure. And then the other part is the repulsion of behavior, which is related to avoiding the pain, Quwwatul Ghadabiyya and Quwwatul Shahwaniyya. So that is the part, this part. And he's saying, Tirmidhi saying that undisciplined self, source of evil desires, likened to hot smoke in the stomach. Because our animal self, the Lataif, Latifa, Nafsiya is in the in navel area, that waist area, that's where the stomach is. So he is the one who located it there. If you read that book, he said that animal soul resides in the stomach. And he's saying that it is likened to a hot smoke. So it creates a smoke, um, and that cloud our heart because it can send that smoke to the heart. That's how he's suggesting. And then of course sadr, he used that word sadr in Quranic word is sadr, but and that is the one mind Bakhtiar has translated. And Bakhtiar said that I found this, of course, from the description of Hakim Tirmizi. And another person who actually mentioned this sadr to be mind is this 14th century Nishaburi, Iranian Mufassir. He wrote a book called Lab al-Tawil fi Tafsir al-Quran. And Nizamuddin Hassan Nishaburi, he suggested that the sadr is what Western Platonic description of mind. So he said sadr is mind. And but no one else mentioned this except in my reading Lale Boktia. And then of course is the outer sphere, and it is the Muslim. When you taslim, then of course you are taslim, you are surrendering your animal self, nafsal ammara, ego self, your submission towards Allah, and that's when you become Muslim. When you become Muslim, it's your ego which says, I accept the um, sovereignty of Allah over me. That's when you can become a submitter. You can become a Muslim. So this is the nafs al-ammara. When it submits, then your ego, of course, um, he is a Muslim. And now nafs al-mulhama is the inspired soul, which is the heart, which is the name is consciousness. That is the modern Freud and Jungian, Carl Jung, their terminology is consciousness. So qalb is Arabic, heart is in English, and consciousness is the psychological terminology. Heart center, divine consciousness. That's where your awareness of Allah resides, and that's when you become mu'min. That is the faith. Your faith lives in the heart. And same is nafs al-lawwama, which is your conscience, your discerning power, which is good, which is bad. That discernment power is part of your heart, which is the deeper part, which is called fuad. In Quran, there is a many verses to discuss about fuad, and that is always remind us, reproach us that you are doing bad, you are doing bad. And if you did a killing, of course, it reminds you that you just needed to seek justice. So that is what our reproaching self is. And that's when you become arif. When you win your nafs al-lawwama, then you can become marifa will enter into your heart. And then nafsul mutmainna, which is of course Allah is inviting, ya yutuhan nafsul mutmainna, soul at peace, and that is your highest level within the sphere of heart. And that is in Quran, it's called lab, subtle intellect, albab, plural, and it's innermost core, and it is actually connected to brain and heart. So that is the one, and that is the final black sphere, the one you saw in there. And that is the Mawahid, the unifier, the light of Tawhid. Ya Wahid will stay there. And now, Hakim Tirmidhi again. Sadr is where one Islam rests. A general term, consciousness, qalb, nafs al-mulhama is the place where certainty and faith, al-iman rests. So we just briefly discussed it. So I will not go further in there. So our mind is the seat of light. So we are just discussing all those. And then here she quoted this verse that when we submit to Allah with become a Muslim, Allah extend an invisible rope, and that is the one in Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that وَيُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدِ اسْتَمْسَكَ. When you believe in Allah, istimsaka bil urwati luska. So there is a invisible urwati luska, lan fisama, it will never break, unbreakable. So that is the one, the most firm handhold is when you believe in Allah, Allah extended to us. Okay? Allah extended to us. Once we hold it firmly, that's when we become faithful. We become mu'min. So that is the part, of course, mind, and then yeah, it goes deeper, which is the heart. And then this is the وَمَنْ يُسْلِمْ وَجْهَهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ فَقَدِ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى وَإِلَى اللَّهِ عَاقِبَةُ الْأُمُورِ. Again, firm handhold بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى is the one, once you can do it, that of course mind allows us to go into the heart. If we do not train our mind to this process of submitting to God's will, tempting desires, inappropriate behavior, distracting thoughts will become a habit over a long period of time. So if we are unable to have that firm handhold, and from Islam we can't become full mu'min, then this kind of tempting desires will keep coming into our mind and it will slowly slip into the heart. We will remain egocentric, self-centered. This is the reason I wanted to study this part, because what are the reason of all those malamia, why all those um, bad traits or negative traits? Because of all these things. If we cannot become from Muslim to Mu'min, our egocentric, self-centered self will have desires and feelings which will pollute our mind all the time. And this is why we need to work on our mind and understand where it is coming from. And of course, as for the lights of the Quran and Sunnah, which are the lights of Islam in our mind, they increase through correctness of conduct, sincerity of endeavor. However, their lights decreases when we turn away from them and through our failures to make use of them. And their likeness is the likeness of moon, for it increases and decreases. And this is the one Tirmidhi is saying, the way moonlight increase and decrease, waxing and waning happen. Same way, our the light into our mind, which is the light of Quran and light of our Islamic practices, if we do not do enough, then our conduct, if we don't have endeavor, sincere endeavor, then of course light decreases. So, and darkness um, can can attack our mind, and slowly of course that will cloud our heart. And so this is what the uswasa comes from, the smoke of that animal soul from the belly, from the stomach. When whispering of desires, wants and needs enter our mind from the emotive aspect of our animal soul, our mind expands and activates our willpower to seek the pleasure. When the whisperings of our animal soul in our mind cause us to behave or act in such a way as to avoid something that will cause us harm or pain, our mind contracts our willpower in two ways, either avoiding harm, pain, or removing an impediment or a barrier that would prevent us from some pleasure. In other words, the behavioral component of our animal soul either works for itself or it assists our pleasure seeking component by removing any impediment our pleasure seeking component may face. So basically, this is how mind works. So we needed to understand too much versus too less. Which one we need more um, to make a balance. And there are some Quranic verses she quoted to justify what these things, and those same Quranic verse what Hakim Tirmidhi quoted as well. So she just repeated what is in that book. So would you perhaps be one who leaves some of that is revealed to you, or is your mind that which is constricted by it? Dayyakan, that constriction, the expansion versus contraction. So even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that um, that if you فَلَعَلَّكَ تَارِكٌ, if you leave some of what is revealed to you, Allah has given you through Quran, Wahi, and if you want to leave it, then of course your mind will be constricted. Your mind will be constricted by it. And then another one is saying, وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمُ أَنَّكَ يَدِيكُ صَدْرُكَ بِمَا يَقُولُونَ. Here he's saying to Prophet, we know that your mind became constricted, distressed because of what they say. So when kafir people, unbeliever, were saying bad things to Prophet, Prophet's heart were distressed. As a result, felt constricted. So here is an example how Quran says that our mind can be constricted. Moses said, truly I fear that they will deny me and my mind be constricted. Again, Quran. Our mind has no limit to its contraction and expansion. So as you know, our mind can go anywhere, Sidratul Muntaha to, Zakum, the bottom, lowest of the low, versus highest of the high. Anywhere our mind can go in this whole cosmos. So that's what he's saying, and in Quran confirming it. That's if it contracts to the truth, it expands to falsehood, and if it contracts to falsehood, it expands to the truth. So if you can contract it from falsehood, then you can expand it to the truth. And as God asked the Prophet, said, expand we not your mind, alam nashrah laka sadraka. So that's what he's saying, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did it to his prophet, so he can do for every mu'min as well. And our mind is put to the test by our animal soul. Nafs al-ammara, by bringing its desire, it actually doing the testing. Sometimes it does that by the order of Allah. The abode of the animal soul is in the stomach, area of the waist. This is again Hakim Tirmidhi. She quoted this number 7 is the reference to that book, the one Bayan al Farq. So, abode of the animal soul is in the stomach and the area of the waist. It becomes excited by the blood and by the power of impurity. The stomach thus becomes filled with darkness of its vapors and heat of its fire. Our animal soul thereupon enters into our mind with its evil whispering and base desires as a test by God of his servant, so that he seeks help to his Lord. So Allah does this sometimes deliberately so that to test us whether we seek Allah's help. When we fall into um, tribulation, Allah's expectation is we pray to Allah, oh Allah, um, you gave the disease, you can heal. So that's what Allah sometimes tests us. Our animal soul is active contact with our mind. You see, the animal soul is in the stomach, and our heart is where mind is. Of course, some part is in the brain as well. Um, so yeah, but animal soul is an active contact between these two parts of our own self. If we engage our mind in a struggle with our animal soul, we become free of wrongdoing in our actions or behavior by activating our rational free will power through following the light of the spirit of Islam. We may be able to discipline it by sincerely striving if accompanied by God's assistance. That's what Madadillah, we talked about Madadillah. Our mind is also place of malice from the animal soul. So if this is Quranic verse, we will draw out what was in their minds of malice. So you see, minds of malice can happen. And which is jealousy. And we will tear out any malice from their minds. So Quran speaks about malice. So envy, malice, all those things happens because of too much of desiring the pleasure. He has not, however, guaranteed to protect our mind from evil whispering. What we might recognize the grace of Allah upon us. God said, He will heal the minds of a folk ones who believe. So if you become believer, that's when Allah heals our mind. Thus God made clear that the cure is in the mind. He's also said, O humanity, surely draw near you from your Lord a healing for what is in the minds and the guidance and mercy for ones who believe. So if you believe, you have to seek it and you have to turn towards Allah, then Allah will give you healing. So in this way, so many verses Allah speak about this same thing over and over. I just going um, jumping basically our mind versus our consciousness compared. And here, sometimes Quranic verse mind sadr actually means consciousness is related to qalb. So there are some verses. For example, here, وَلِ- وَلِيَبْتَلِيَ اللَّهَ وَلِيَبْتَلِيَ اللَّهُ مَا فِي صُدُورِكُمْ وَلِيُمَحِّصَ مَا فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ Wallahu alimun bizat sudur. So there is a two word. One is yaptaliya, which is testing. Mahisa is the examining or purifying. So these two things happen related to mind and the qalb. Mind, sudur, and qalb, consciousness. So these two part thing happen. Allah can purify by scrutinizing and examining all the desires or the way we are acting. God might put to a test all that you harbor in your mind and render your innermost hearts pure of all dross. So any uh, malady is the dross. For God is aware of what is in the hearts of men. He proves what is in your consciousness, meaning that God is quite aware of the whisperings of unhealthy emotions and thoughts in our mind. So she quoted this verse multiple times to, to inform us that Quranic reference sometime so وَرَبُّكَ يَعْلَمُ مَا تَكُونُ صُدُورُهُمْ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ. Your Lord knows what their minds or consciousness. It can be both minds or consciousness. Mania, heart and the mind both can be this sudur can mean. So this is what um, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in this verse. So sometime mind and heart both are meant by the same word sudur. في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا ولهم عذاب عليم. This is the sickness in their consciousness. So qulub. So qulub here marad, and of course here Allah used the word qulub, and God increased them in sickness, and for them is painful punishment lying against themselves. And then yeah, similar comparison happening here. And then this is the one I wanted to quote from Hakim Tirmidhi. He's saying that marifa is a bounty which God gives to his servant when he opens for him the door of blessings and favor, beginning without the servants being worthy of it, of that, and then granting him guidance until he believes that this is all from God, granted to him as a grace and a favor from him whom he is unable to thank except by means of his assistance. And this again is yet another favor to him from God. So you see, Hakim Tirmidhi is saying, without favor or without divine assistance, no marifa, knowledge, which can come as a bounty of God. And that comes into the fuad, the inner part of the heart, which is our conscience. And the another quotation from that book is one who has not died does not see the resurrection except that he die. As the messenger of Allah said, when one dies, one's resurrection has arrived. So whoever dies and the spirit of his self lives and he is transported by his spirit from this world to the hereafter, beholds the hereafter and what is in it. Similarly, one who has died in his own being. So if you can die on his own being, meaning from your own self, ego self, but is alive in his protector, knows that he himself does not control harm or benefit or death or life or resurrection. So basically by surrendering 100% to Allah, if you can become fanafillah, right? Then he's saying that his heedlessness has been revealed to him, his resurrection has arrived, and he has become alive through his Lord. So you can become a bakabillah. You can alive through Allah, embraced him, taken him under his protection as a friend, and supported his heart and revived it. He has been by the light of truth, mm, what no one else has seen. So this is the part basically which I mentioned in the beginning, that um, fakashafna gataoka, fakashafna anka gataoka. Said we will lift the veil from you. So this is the condition that we have to die. Our ego self had to die, and then we have to say that nothing but Allah can give us life. If we can do that kind of surrender and that kind of hanafillah, that kind of complete surrender, then we can become alive through Allah. And of course, Allah will embrace us and will give His protection, and a friendship will develop. Allaha waliyu al-mu'minin. Allahu waliyu lilladina amanu. Allah is the friend of the people who are a true mu'min. So that's what we can become, that Allah will be wali for us. And that's when we can see the hereafter. Our spirit can transport us from this world to that world. And that's what happened to, of course, Ibn Arabi, Hakim Tirmizi, and all awliya. And this is what we are trying to get, this bounty, which is saying the grace. And with that note, I just finish. Thank you for listening. Now you have questions or anything? You can unmute yourself.
I feel like a lot of information, a lot to process because you know how you were talking about the sadr being the mind.
Yeah,
Um, so most of the time, like when you're studying and the it's always taught the sadr being the chest, you know. So for me, it was like I was trying to like in my mind to figure out like how mind and chest could like is it a different levels? It's like a spiritual and physical aspect of sadr being mind and sadr being the chest, or is it? Um, yeah, I think that was my question going on in back of my mind.
There is always, that was I for me also, because we are trained this Western mindset that mind is in the brain, but
Yeah.
we always know that mind is in our heart, because when all the poem, if you have all the love poem, if you read,
Mm-hmm.
this feeling of this love, right, is always in the heart. But all this imagination, we are doing it, um, of course, in our mind, right?
Mm.
So, yes, we said that we feel you here in the heart, and our always we think mind means in the head, right? Because that's how
So what?
our, yeah, but
So what's in the head?
because head is, of course, the brain is there, right?
Yeah.
If you look at that table which I showed there, right? Um, that brain is, um, brain is where our, intellect is, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
diagram, you see that the intellect is also, in the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but these two are connected.
Okay.
Okay, let me show you that table again. In that way, you'll know what I mean. This is the one.
Mm-hmm.
You see here, nafsal mutmainna, which is the
Yeah.
lab, inner part. So it is connected to brain and heart. Fuad connected to brain and heart.
Mm-hmm.
Sadr, sadr is of course chest, right? Which is the
Yeah.
surface of the heart,
Mm-hmm.
but it has a connection to stomach, which is the source of our desires. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
source of our desires, anger, pride, everything coming from the stomach, but the mind, which is in the sadr, not in the head, right? So that's how, um, yeah, originally, or everybody thought mind is in the brain, but no, mind is not in the brain. Yes, intellect and reason is in the brain, but mind is part of the heart, because the mind is the
How
surface
do
of the
you
heart.
def how do we define the mind? Is like mind is like something that thinks or feels?
Yeah, mind is where, desires come in. Mind is where passions come in. Mind is where, um, you know we can plot thinking, all those sort of things. But that those sort of things are all, coming from our ego self, which is in the stomach. But mind is the surface of the heart, which is chest. Physical heart is
Mm-hmm.
covered by this
The rib
thorax.
cage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that cage, which is the chest. So,
So is it
so
like I'm just trying to understand because my this is my mind working, my mind.
mm,
Just trying to comprehend and understand because when you read a lot of books about the self and understanding the nafs and the ruh and the spirit or like different levels, I
mm,
always get confused because every teacher uses a different language to describe different things. So it
mm.
all becomes like I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Like, what is a mind? So I'm just trying to understand in this context, the mind, sadr is mind where you said it's the seat of passions, desires, and it's connected to the stomach. And
And
is it
even
also
also
with the
earn
whispering
knowledge.
of shape?
All your earn knowledge, your five senses, whatever knowledge you have learned, everything gone into your mind. not in the
which is your
brain.
sadr. Okay, brain is just a place of reason and
Yeah,
using the
place
data
of,
to discern
yes.
things.
Yeah.
And the mind is like a storage place where it stores all the
Yes.
information or saves it,
Yeah,
and
or
then
Sharia
it's
knowledge.
connected.
Yeah.
So it's connected to the stomach. So that's why, in order for us to overcome, um, like this is my brain linking. So it's our in order for us to overcome our desires is due to fast because the stomach is linking to overpower. It's like, lust is coming from there and passions are coming. So if you are controlling what you eat or fast, is like you're able to control the passions and the desires and the lust and like the animalistic, where you can
All those
clean
things
up
come into
your,
mind. Yeah.
yeah, you clean up your all the, like, people maybe have like different mental health issues and they're all related to the stomach actually. It's like
Yes.
a lot of metaphysical and physical.
Mm.
um so for example, when we was doing the heart math trainer, they give us a map of three brains. The three brains is like your head, your heart, and your stomach. So
Yeah.
because they discovered that you have neural pathways that go from your heart to your brain, and you have more command or information goes from your heart to your brain than to your brain to your heart.
Yes.
And then they talk about the gut brain, like, when you have like your stomach start to turn when you think about something is gonna happen, and you call, oh, I have a gut feeling. So
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
a gut brain. So I was just
Yeah.
like confused, like, oh, why is this other is it's a chest? Why are we calling it a mind? So it was not, it was confusing.
Yeah, because
Like,
our understanding the mind means brain, but it's not. Mind is not a brain.
yeah.
Mind is on the related to heart. It's the surface of the heart, but it has a link to, yes, our gut brain. Yes, because gut is where those desire and all those things come. And when you say that I felt so angry, I had to stomach this whole anger to myself.
Hmm.
So we sometimes use it in language. We have to stomach it, right?
Yeah,
So
could
sometimes,
stomach it. Or
yeah,
people, like some people have like their stomach hurts when they feel anxiety or something
yeah,
unexpected happen.
mm,
They feel it's like a gut. I have a gut feeling.
mm,
They know it is, they just don't know how.
yeah. Yeah, so this, that's why I was saying, because she was a psychologist,
Hmm.
and she, if you, I don't know whether you check the list she gave, and in the last part of the book, she listed almost 80 different Muslim psychologists from
Hmm.
700 century to um, 20th century.
Oh.
Last person he quoted as a psychologist is Muhammad Iqbal, and she listed Hassan al-Basri as the first psychologist. 728,
Hmm.
765 Jafar Sadiq, 777 Ibrahim ibn Adham, and then Hakim Tirmizi, 900, ninth century. So she listed all those people, even Miskawiya, the one we
Hmm.
quoted quite a quite a lot in our last class, this 10th century, Miskawiya. He was a philosopher and he's a psychologist because he wrote about soul and the model of how human self work. And then, of course, Abdul Qadir Jilani, Ibn al Arabi, all those, Abdul Karim Jili, Jalaluddin Rumi, all of them, he mentioned, they understood human psychology from a spiritual perspective, how mind, body, and soul works. And so that's why, I of course liked her, this Quranic, and she gave lots of references, Quranic references, that Allah is talking about it. He's talking about mind when he's talking about sadr. And she's saying that not only she herself related this sadr based on this book of Hakim Tirmizi, she mentioned that Nazim al-Din Hassan Nishaburi, who was actually in 14th century, uh, uh, and he wrote a tafsir, and in the commentary he mentioned that sadr is the mind of this, the way Western people write it, the mind. So sadr is the mind. So that's what she is, and that's how she explained all this Quranic verse, because nowhere else dhihn, dhihn is the Arabic word for mind.
Yeah.
Quran never used that word. Modern word dhihn is the modern Arabic word. And if you search with
I,
dhihn nobody used it. In those days maybe dhihn was not available. So anyway, we needed to close it
I
here,
think I
but
need,
hmm?
yeah, I think I just need to like read it again and just like try to understand. Just make it, just understand it and like, clear the confusion for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I,
But
I
it
suggest you
definitely,
read that Quranic Psychology book.
hmm
Um, this module 10.
yes.
Module 10, we discussed module 11, but module 10 is
hmm
where she defined this cognitive system, and she explained there why she chose sadr as the mind, because that
Okay.
is based on Hakim Tirmidhi's this concentric spherical diagram.
hmm
Because the way in that book, Hakim Tirmidhi explained how, because over there Hakim Tirmidhi used sadr because it's an
hmm
Arabic book. So and the all the symptom and all the characteristic written for sadr matches with the her study of clinical psychology. She said mind embody those characteristic of Hakim Tirmidhi. So as a result, uh, Hakim Tirmidhi gave a very detailed description. And there are more research if you wanted to read on the qalb and the so I collected quite a few books and thesis. If you want, I can share it with you.
Sure, if you don't mind.
I'll share it with you in the WhatsApp in your link. I'll send you this PhD thesis, London University of London on
hmm
Hakim Tirmizi. All those, yeah.
Okay.
You can
Thank
read
you so much.
Arabic.
No, I can't.
Ah, okay. So you do not understand Arabic. Yeah, okay. So in that case, I'll give you then, there is a English PhD thesis on Shah Waliullah Dehlevi.
hmm
Shah Waliullah Dehlevi also wrote quite three books on soul. Are you
Okay.
familiar with Shah Waliullah?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you read anything from his book?
No, just the quotes and just knowing about him because I think it's like in Pakistan he's very popular, so people talk
Okay,
about
okay,
him.
okay. So anyway, those are the so I'll give his that PhD thesis as well. That has quite a big detail about how he understood the psychology, and that's why he
hmm
was listed in this list of 80 people. In this is why I like about Lale Bokhtiyar's this book, because she studied so many. Even I was surprised to find this John Conrad. I couldn't believe. Did you read a book called A to Z of Sufism?
No, I did not.
John Conrad, I think I'm not sure he's an American. and he did a PhD on Rumi, and
Mm-hmm.
then he wrote a book on A to Z of Sufism. I'll send you that book as well.
Okay.
So, and I was surprised that even she gone into that book, and even she gone into a website on technology of heart. One of my friend is a Bangladeshi as well. So
Yeah.
he collected uh, this 12 methods, 12 methodology of nafs. And that is in the technology of heart, online article. And she quoted
Mm-hmm.
that as well. So this is, so she did
Wow.
so much study before writing this book. So this is why I am fascinated by her work. And yeah, I'll send you those. So A to Z
Technology of
of
art.
Sufism, if you study that, you'll find more as well. Oh, but there is a chronology of all Sufis there. Chronology
Oh.
by the year,
Hmm.
A to Z of Sufism. Yeah, man, that John Renard actually, not Conrad, John Renard. Mm. Anyway,
I I look
thanks for
forward to
giving the
it.
company and time, and really appreciate it.
Thank you for your efforts and thank you for preparing the lectures and going over with us to make us understand. And it takes a lot of commitment from you too, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I also appreciate your time. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.